Alrighty guys, welcome back. Part 2 of the Silverado update. So far I got the fifth wheel, I've got the flywheel plate off. All it was 15 millimeter bolts. Use swivel sockets to get them out. Use the gun, or you can use a ratchet, whatever you feel necessary to use. But I'm gonna go ahead and pull some more of these out and show the process. Sorry, it's a little cramped down here. I got a transmission kind of bugging in my area. It's a little cramped. Yeah, just these are 10 millimeter bolts. Go figure, right? I got to put some 10 millimeter fasteners in the engine for the rear main seal plate. I guess the car is not complete unless you got 510 millimeter bolts on it. Alright. Told you, this gun has come in handy. It's taking a beating. I've already put it through its paces. Because it seemed like every other bolt that if we were taking off the exhaust and all that other stuff, they had it all torqued down. Big time. Or it's never been really taken off. But that's all the bolts. You got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 bolts on the plate itself. Take you a pry bar and gently, and I stress this out, gently, because you are dealing with your main engine. Go ahead and pry it off some. Once you get it loose enough where you can put some fingers behind it, go ahead and take it off. I don't know if that's been done before, but it's not too bad. I mean, it looks like this piece is starting to come off. Or is that the gasket? Yeah, that's the gasket. But down here, it looked like that was a little bit damaged. So, got a whole new plate for it, whole new gaskets, probably got all new hardware in there. But we're gonna go ahead and pause the video for now, and then the next step we'll probably be taking off this oil pan. But for now, we'll be back with you. Alrighty everybody, welcome back. Raging Cajun here. Well, it's finally time to start putting everything back together. Got everything taken apart, got the old pan and stuff like that taken off. Nice surprise when I pulled that oil pan off. Yes, the pan gasket was busted. It needed to be replaced. Good thing I ordered another one. But I guess Chevrolet came up with an idea to rivet, literally put rivets in the pan gasket. So I had to take it up to a shop because I don't have my rivet gun or rivets with me. All that stuff is buried in the storage building. So I went up to a body shop and they were able to put a couple rivets in the pan for me. I'll go ahead and show you what that is. Let me switch the camera. But right here is where the rivets are. One right here, and then one down here. Which that's not going to matter too much. I'll put some RTV in there and seal it up nice and good so it doesn't leak. But as you can tell, that is the brand new seal. I think I still have the old seal. But here is the old one. Up here, it was damaged. The seal was busted right up in this area. And then down in this area, the seal was busted. As you can see, it's starting to separate itself from the metal piece, the aluminum piece of the seal, of the gasket seal itself. But all in all, hasn't been a bad job, not whatsoever. What people got to remember: take your time when you're working on a vehicle. Make sure you do the job right the first time. Make sure you get everything right, because ultimately, if you mess something up, it can be a costly mistake. If any point whatsoever I would get stuck and I didn't know what else to do, I would definitely seek advice from other people. But so far so good, other than the parts where it started becoming a pain in the butt. But I just took a break for a minute when those parts arrived, took a breath, then came back to it. But I'm going to pause the video for a little bit, get everything repositioned, and we'll bring you back on the next step. Alrighty, welcome back everybody. As you can see, everything was taken out. There's the bottom side of the motor. Everything seems to be okay down here. But one thing to remember is keep safety in mind when you leave. If you leave this thing overnight, put a jack stand under your front differential and make sure it's supported. Don't just trust the jack when you jack that front differential. Never trust just a floor jack, especially an older one, because if they lose velocity and drop all the way down, it can be a costly mistake in your part. So just put a jack stand under it and help it support it. It don't have to be touching the front differential, but just put it under kind of close. Get as close as you can, so that way if the jack does decide to lose its strength and stuff like that, it's got something to catch it from falling and hitting the ground. But we'll bring you back on the next part. We'll be right back with you. Alrighty everybody, welcome back. As you can see, the oil pan has been put back on. So that step is done. Finally. It's all sealed up, ready to go. For that part anyway. The next part will be putting the rear main shield plate back on it. But all the bolts have been put back in the oil pan. Good idea when you drop your oil pan to pull this out, clean your oil pan really good. Get all the sludge. If there's any sludge in there, make sure there's no medical particles in the bottom of the pan. You know, the stuff that really doesn't drain when you do your oil change. Clean it all out really good. Make sure it's all good and dry, nothing left behind to break down the oil velocity. Make sure your gasket on the back of this is really good and not broken. It's a good idea to do that. Just inspect your oil pan really good if you do this, and there's nothing wrong with this oil pan. And put it back on. All you need to drop the oil pan is some swivel extensions or swivel sockets, 10mm sockets basically. Remember, if you use an impact wrench or impact driver or something like that, make sure you got the impact rated stuff to do it with. I used also the chrome stuff, but I didn't put that on an impact gun. Hard to reach bolts for the oil pan. It's a good idea to get one of those impact extensions if you ain't got one of these in chrome. Just put you a shallow 10mm socket on there, and you can get into those hard to reach areas really easy. But all together, I mean, it's all going back together rather easy. The next step is to lift the front differential back up and bolt it back into place. I'm not going to show that process, but I will bring y'all back after I get it back up there. If y'all want to see the front differential. I'm not going to show that process, but after I get it all back up and in there again, we will bring y'all back. I'll go ahead and give y'all a bottom view of it. There's the front, but there's the front differential right there. I'm going to turn it around. There's the front differential right there. All you do is take a 21mm socket and get those two bolts out right there. There's one inside of that little compartment up there, right there, and then there's one way up there to undo. But it's just 4 bolts. Make sure you got a jack underneath it before you start loosening those bolts out or taking the bolts out completely. And yeah, unloosen those bolts with the jack on the front differential. Lower it down, take your pan out, and then you'll be pretty much ready to go. That part right there is for one of the cross members, one of the cross beams to keep this up there in place and keeps it from falling out. I will show that later on though, but we'll bring y'all back when I'm ready to bring you back. Alrighty, everybody, welcome back. Well, as y'all can see, the rear main plate is back. The rear main seal plate is back together. You got to torque these down. Put one in at a time. But as you put these in, you don't do them all on a line. You say you put that one in first, go down here, and then you go over here. You offset your tightening before you just tighten it all the way down. Don't give it too much ugga-duggas, because at the end of it, you gotta put a torque wrench on it and torque those back down to, I guess, 35 foot-pounds. I gotta look up the correct number. But as you can see, the oil pan is back on. I believe I got to torque those back down too. I still got to put these two back in for the rear main seal plate. So we'll do that on the video. I'll go ahead and put you guys over here. Go ahead and set y'all up here like this somehow. And I'm gonna pause the video right quick and I'll be right back with you. Alright, everybody, the bolts are back in, getting ready to torque them down. I gotta look up the torque specs on them to make sure I get this correct, because I don't want to mess this up at all. I believe it's 35 foot-pounds of torque for each of those bolts, including those. So we'll be right back with you after I get the torque specs, and I'll torque them down on video. Be right back with you. Alrighty, everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is going to complete part 2 of this series. Got the flywheel plate back on. I got the rear main seal plate put back on. I got to wait for a little bit of help to get the transmission and transfer case and all the rest of it. That'll be in part 3. So stay tuned for that. But if you like this video, please like, comment, share, subscribe, and ring that bell, because you never know when the next one's coming out. This is the Raging Cajun, and I sure thank you for watching so far. Stay tuned for more. But I'm going to see y'all on the next one. Y'all keep those wheels spinning, your beavers grinning. And I'll catch y'all on the next one. Raging Cajun is out.